All right, here we go.
There we go.
Enjoy. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, thank you so much for like I said, thank you so much for hopping on. And I know you've obviously been busy. I'm very excited to have you on, by the way, Artemis.
Thank
I've
you.
been, yeah, absolutely. So just to give you some backstory, the first time I heard about you was right when I started training for Strong First. I was starting to do my SFG
Mhm.
certification about 2.5 years ago, give or take. And one of my friends and colleagues, she said, "You got to check out Artemis. Like, she's really
Mhm.
awesome. She has really cool workout videos, and she's a badass." And I said, "Oh, cool. Well, let me see. I love
Mhm.
badass things." So she showed me some of your videos, your heavy swings, and your Iron Maiden videos, and your heavy deadlift and all that stuff. And then I saw about your um, I'm not afraid to lift. Is that what it was called? The
Yep.
program that you did? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, it was my women's strength workshop that
Yeah,
I started in 2014. It
awesome.
was something I created. It was inspired by my training for the Iron Maiden challenge because there had been, there's just so much. Wasn't just about, when it came to the IM, it wasn't just about like just building the strength from programming. There was so much mindset and personal development involved in that. And I found that through my own personal process of training for it and having a failed press and coming back and making that my strength, and learning how to be a very powerful, strong presser, I overcame things mentally in terms of my self worth and feeling like I wasn't good enough or not capable. And so it was just something that lifting and going through that process helped me to do it. And so with the lift workshop, that was something I brought to the lift workshop. It was about teaching women to lift properly. That, and also, just because there's still like myth busting out there in terms of
Yep.
women bulking up from lifting. So there was
Oh
there
my
was that
God,
in
yeah.
there. But then it was also about bringing the mindset component to it, because from my own personal experience, and then just also from my clients who I had worked with, I found that a lot of times it really, their limitations and their lack of progress, it wasn't about the fact that the programming wasn't good, or that they weren't consistent or anything like that. A lot of times there was some mental block happening that was
Oh
preventing them from
yeah.
being able to have progress. And so I brought that to this workshop. And within that 8 hour day, these women, when they came to the workshop, it built this community where it was a very safe space for them to talk about things like that and to
Hmm.
overcome them by going through the act of lifting and community at the workshop. And yeah, it ended up just being a really powerful event. And it was, something I did from 2014 and through 2019. I did that until I switched to business coaching last year. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was like, so it was in one of my most favorite things to do too. And to see the transformation too, to see like women come in and where they were at and share their vulnerability, and it was everything from, for example, at there was a workshop I taught in Seattle in June of 2019, and one woman was Latina, and she was explaining how, culturally, her family did not understand why she liked to lift. They
Oh
were
yeah.
would say to her, they didn't there wasn't something like, you shouldn't be lifting, women shouldn't be lifting, which is something, as I'm Greek American, it's something that I've heard from Greek men. Not my
I
father,
believe it.
thankfully, is like not like that, but I've heard that
Yeah.
too. Like, Greek women don't exercise. Like, you're not supposed to be lifting. And so she battled with that. Like, and that she, like, her grandmother would tell her that you're going to look like a man and things like that. And so
Yeah.
that was, that really hit home for her, because she loved to lift. And it had, for those of us who are very passionate about it, it had it was very personal to her. So for her family not to accept it culturally, that was really hard. So that was like that was a challenge she had, that she shared with the group and wanted to talk about it, and it just helped. It felt good to be with like-minded women who understood passion for lifting and why she loved it. So, you know, there was that. And there was another woman who was at the workshop who she had been sick with cancer. And so like the workshop was like her first comeback after
Oh,
having
wow.
cancer.
Yeah.
And so it was like, you know, it's things like that came out in the workshop. And I think that's what made it, that's what set it apart and made it so powerful.
I think that's amazing, Artemis. That's one thing that I've really enjoyed getting into in these episodes with all of our guests, particularly the fitness ones, is going into kind of the deeper meaning of strength training and how there's a lot more at play here than just lifting up some weights and you know, sets and reps and all that kind of stuff. Like, not to say that stuff doesn't matter, but what you just spoke on, that's what really counts, right? That's the mental health, the wellness, you know, that the lady, you know, fighting cultural norms, and kind of almost trying to reset them and maybe try to challenge them in a good way. And then the other lady who, you know, is coming back from, you know, from cancer. That's incredible. That already required a tremendous amount of strength to begin with. And then now she's thinking about,
Yeah.
you know, rebuilding her body and getting strong. So that's awesome. I think it's cool that you put that together. That really, out of all the stuff you did, that's what really stuck out to me when I saw the posts and I saw the videos and some of the photos. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it even like, there was even, like women, like for example, there was one woman I taught a workshop in Albuquerque, and she was more of a beginner lifter. And so she was someone who was coming into the workshop feeling insecure, lacking confidence
Sure.
about actual lifting and what her capabilities were and her self-worth. And through the pull-up segment, I was showing different variations to like my big thing. One of the big things is about, you know, training the pull-up without having to do a pull-up, like training hanging leg raises and floor leg raises and hollows and things like that. So I showed her I was teaching the floor leg raise, laying on your back with a barbell and doing that instead of even having to hang and do hanging leg raises. And so I was like, okay, let's have you try it after I taught it. And so she went to go try it and she did it. And after she did it, like her face was like, it just completely lit up like a Christmas tree. She said,
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be able to do that. And it was just like that simple thing and going through that movement. And even though she was scared, feeling like that she was being taken care of because the workshop itself was a safe space. And then she had me as a coach taking her through it. And that just changed her perspective of herself and what she was capable of. And it opened her eyes to learn that, like, if she could do that, then there's a lot of other things that she can do that she didn't think that she could.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
So
And honestly, cool. That's and you and I, obviously, that's why we do what we do. That's is for those very moments when somebody has that Neo moment from the Matrix where they realize that their potential is much greater than they realize, and then they're able to accomplish something. And then it's kind of like tip of the iceberg, right? Like I had a client very similar to yours as well, and we wanted to do pull-ups. She really wanted to be able to do a pull-up because she needed to do them for a fitness assessment that she has coming up. And so it was a big mental block for her. And it's, you know, we trust the process, like you said, the hollow hangs, the hollow holds, the core, the planks, everything, the grip stuff. And she just, man, when she got the first one, it took us a year to get there, but she got that first one, man. That's priceless, man. That's like winning a Super Bowl. You know, it's such a rewarding feeling to see someone hit that goal.
It totally is. Yeah.
And then it's funny because then the conversation goes into, oh, well, let's get to 5 reps and let's get to, you know, and now she's doing them with weight, and it's just, you know, she's really taken off, which is obviously really rewarding and exciting. So
yeah, it's very cool, and it's normal for it to take a year. And I think that part of you know, we know, like, part of educating our clients that there's nothing wrong with you. It's completely normal that it's going to take you a year to get your pull up. Like, that's, you know, a lot of people, that's where they're at. As long as you're consistent, that's typically how long it'll take.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of what you're talking about is, I'm sure you know Jen Murphy Meehan. I'm sure you've like met her, seen her before, a fellow Iron Maiden. And she posts obviously a lot about pull-ups. We actually had her on the show this past week, and she was talking a lot about what you're talking about as far as the psychology the mindset and just that getting past those limiting beliefs and believing in yourself and just kind of pushing it out to the next level. So that's cool.
Yes.
And like you said, training the pull up without actually doing the pull up, kind of working your way up there versus like getting up on the bar and just freaking out and being overwhelmed, right? You're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. And
So
a lot of times I found when I had women come to me and they would say like, I can't do a pull up, I would ask, well, how often are you training pull ups? Oh, I don't know, like once a week. They would sit there, or not, not every week, like once in a
yeah,
while.
yeah,
And so I said, well, that's part of it. Like, if you want to do a pull up, you have to be consistently doing something in your
that's right.
training that's working towards it every single time you train. Like, I usually recommend like minimum 4 times a week that you're doing that to get to the pull up. And then also a lot of times I'll find like women will discount like a chin up. They will discount an underhand grip. Oh, but it's so easy. No,
Oh
it's not.
yeah,
You're still like pulling your body weight up against
yeah,
gravity over a freaking bar. It's
exactly.
not it's not so easy. Okay.
Yep. No, you're
So
right
it's
about
just
that.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. So just helping people to, helping women to understand like, okay, well, consistency is key. So it's like, we got to like set you up so you have some consistency here. And then when you have, and then, or I would also have women, like if they did their first chin up, say not from a dead hang, but from just like, they would discount that. I'm like, how are you discounting this? So it's
Oh
about helping
yeah.
them to like recognize that, like, that it is a big deal.
Still
And
progress. Yeah. You still have to
yeah,
you have to track the progress.
totally.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, there's a
Oh
lot
no,
of.
definitely. And my client Marissa was the exact same thing. We started off from like couldn't even budge on the bar,
Mhm.
as a baseline, and then same thing. We started her off on the bar like from the box with a little bit of a push off with the legs, and then gradually got to the point where she can now she can full dead hang pull, hollow out and pull and everything. So it was you're right, it's those incremental little steps that factor into the whole process. So
Right.
it's exciting.
Exactly.
I love the process too. It's just so cool, and I love seeing and like you said, especially like especially for women that just feel like they don't feel like the gym is their place, they don't feel like they belong.
Hmm.
It's really cool to see that switch flip. And for my client or any other female lifter for that matter, going in and going up to the big guy and saying, yo dude, you almost done, it's I want to work in, it's great. I
Yeah.
love it when that happens and they get that confidence and that self-assurance, and it's awesome. So
There was well, here's this. When I first moved back to Boston, because I was living in Arlington, Virginia. So it was like 2009. I moved back to Boston, and I was working for the BSC. And my home club was West Newton. I was working at BSC West Newton, BSC
oh yeah.
Watertown. And I remember I was doing pull ups. I was working out at the BSC West Newton, and I was doing some other things too. And so I was coming back to do like another set of pull-ups.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
there was a guy that had been doing pull-ups there. And I asked him, I said, do you mind if I work in with you? And I guess he had been watching me. He looked at me, he said, as long as you don't do more pull-ups than me.
That's awesome.
And then I said, well, I can't guarantee that.
Yeah, there you
Like,
go.
sorry, dude. And I think it's like, and that for women to like get to a point where like, you know, women will not look like men by lifting, but they might end up stronger than some men. And I think to like,
Oh,
because they live,
absolutely.
and I think like getting to that point for women is just like very empowering. It's like, yeah, like, wow, I feel just really strong and confident because I can do more pull-ups than this guy at the gym.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And it's funny, my two strongest clients slash lifters, they're female, and they'll out pull, they'll out squat, they'll out snatch, out swing any of my other clients, like males included. And it's they work hard. They put the time in,
Yeah.
they bust their ass, they don't screw around, they show up every single day. And they like I jokingly but also seriously say that if the zombies ever show up or something really goes down, like I want them on my team because they're strong as hell and they're gonna be an asset.
Yeah.
So
And
they
I
put the
think a
work
lot
in.
of it is Yeah, and I think a lot of it is women, when they get to that point, they don't take their strength for granted,
Yeah.
because socially, culturally, it's this, they'll always be like, men are always, and also just physiologically, men will always be stronger than women. So I think that when women are like getting to that point where they're building this insane strength and they're finding that they are like stronger than some men, it's something they don't take for granted. They're like, I worked so hard for this, and I really own this, and I'm just, I'm proud of my strength.
Oh, absolutely. No, I couldn't agree with that more. I think, especially with upper body stuff, right? Like a lot of times, like
Yeah.
for the generally speaking, women tend to struggle with the upper body stuff, and but then y'all tend to excel at the lower body stuff, like squats and deadlifts. Women tend to really smoke a lot of guys on, particularly women that obviously train and are on a good program. And but no, I agree with you. I think there's definitely that appreciation and respect for it because they remember the work that it took to get where they currently are. So
Right.
no, I agree
Yeah.
with you more. So Artemis, so you obviously you did Iron Maiden. You've done a
Mhm.
lot of really cool stuff. You obviously I've seen the kettlebell training videos. What I guess not to get too long and at length here, but what has your training career kind of looked like, and what brought you from kind of personal training, online training, and coaching over to your current track, which is obviously like business coaching and business development for your clients?
Mhm. So it was so when we moved to Vegas, one of the things I wanted to do with my online business was to make it a full-time gig. Because
Mhm.
at the time, I started out online in 2012, and that was just by writing my blog, an old WordPress, old
Oh
school
yeah,
blog,
that's
when
awesome.
everyone was reading blogs. And and how that started was, I just wanted to share with, of course, I had no intentions of making any money. It was just about like having a blog and just having exposure, and helping people by sharing about my training and my story and other things like that.
Yeah.
And so then, from there, that ended up building into a part-time online business, because we also had our facility. And
Yeah.
so I
Oh
had
right,
that.
that's right.
Yeah, we had a facility. First, we had a location in Needham, and then we moved from Needham to West Roxbury. So then when we closed our facility and we moved out to Vegas, my goal was, like, I wanted to make my online business just 100% full time and do that. But
Yeah.
it was hard after that. When you close, we completely shut down our business. There was a lot of other mental, emotional, physical. There was like physical burnout, mental burnout,
Oh
and then there
sure.
was just like, also just dealing with the feelings, even if you didn't fail, like dealing with the feelings of failure, because like this thing ended, right? So
Absolutely.
I think I spent like all of 2017 dealing with all of that until I felt like, okay, I can get back to focusing on my career, my profession, and doing this. And so that the process of that was going through getting back into teaching workshops, strong first workshops, my lift workshop, and then getting a part-time job at Cirque as the strength coach for Ka, for their show Ka. And then after being at Cirque for like a year and a half, it was like about a year in or
Hmm.
so. I was, even though I loved Ka, was like, I loved that show. I loved
I
all
can
the
only imagine that was
artists.
probably a cool
Uh,
experience.
it was really cool, and the people were just amazing there, and I really enjoyed working there. There wasn't any growth for me
Oh yeah.
a as a strength and conditioning coach there. And I didn't, if there was going to be growth, I would have moved into an administrative role, and
Yeah.
which I didn't want to do that. So with that, I wanted growth, and the way I knew I could have growth was by my own business. So
Yeah.
that drove me to want to get back to focusing on growing my online business full time. So I did that, ended up leaving Cirque, and why I wanted online is I wanted to have more flexibility with my schedule, so
Definitely.
that
Yeah.
I wasn't like showing up for sessions, because I also had people who I was training I was training them out of my garage. So transitioned away from that too. So for the online, I wanted it to be something so I could have more flexibility with my schedule, more control over my schedule, and also be able to take on more clients without trading my time for money with like
Yes.
sessions, right?
Yep.
And that went really, really well. And I had a like really fast online business building that happened in 2019. My business, it grew very quickly, and I got back to my workshops, and then by the end of that year, because I was doing, and part of it is my fault in that I should have, I was doing everything myself. My husband hadn't left Cirque yet, and I was doing everything myself, and I hadn't hired anyone to help me, like a
Yeah.
virtual assistant or anything like that. So I was doing, which I think is very common amongst the entrepreneurs, and then
Oh, of
especially
course.
also amongst like coaches and strength coaches. I think we're just like, we can do everything ourselves. Like we don't need
Oh
any
yeah,
help. We can
you
do
want a
it
hard
all.
drive? Yep, you got
Yeah,
it. You got it. Yep,
that's like
exactly.
how we are. And so by the end of that year, I was just like, I was really fried from how it was amazing, but it was also like, it was a time for me to reflect.
Yeah.
And I thought, I really need to do something different with my business. And then professionally, so I'm going to be 45 on Monday. I'm not
Oh,
a spring chicken.
awesome.
Yeah. So I've been doing this for a long time, full time since 2008. And then I started back in the fitness industry in 2003 as a part-time group fitness instructor,
Yeah.
spinning and other. So I've been doing this for a long time. So I also, not only was that year very pivotal because I just got to the point where I was just like burnt out from all that work I had done that year, but it was also very pivotal because it was a point where I was like, okay, I need to, professionally and personally, I just need a little bit more growth in my what I'm doing for my
Yeah.
job. And I, as a strong first team leader, and as someone who is, I've spoken, perform better. I've talked at, given talks at other, like Mark Fisher Fitness, their fitness lab, and they have
Oh,
that.
awesome.
There's, as I, over my fitness career, I had taken on this leadership role. And so I did have, often I would have coaches and personal and trainers come to me and ask me about business, like, how do I start my facility? How do I build my business? How do I build my online business? And always ask me those questions and
Oh, there we go.
asking me to help them with business stuff. And it is something I thoroughly enjoy doing. I love it. I mean, obviously, because now it's like it's the full-time focus of our business now.
Yeah.
So that there was a combination of like, okay, something has to change. I need to change for more growth as a professional.
Hmm.
And also, this is something I'm genuinely interested in. And so I think that's just, all those things just came together, and that's what triggered the pivot. And then also the other thing was, my husband, he left Cirque in August 2019.
Hmm.
He was the head therapist for their show Zumanity. He's an athletic trainer.
That's what I was
And
going to ask. Yeah, I knew he was
yeah.
in that field at some
Mhm.
capacity. So he's an athletic trainer. Awesome.
Yes. So he was, and it was also like he and I figuring out together what we wanted to do as a couple for our business. Like, what
Yeah.
do we want to do together? And this was something that we both were very excited and passionate about, because he was not, when he left, he was doing strength coaching and nutrition coaching. He was doing that for a few months, but it wasn't something that really lit him up.
Yeah.
He just was like, for some reason, it just wasn't lighting him up the way it used to when we had our facility. And so then there was like that whole discussion. And this was something that he was like, he's like, I'm so into this. I'm so into
Yeah.
helping fitness strength coaches build their businesses, is something that we both know a lot about, because we've done a lot of that. And so that's pretty much what sparked that. And then once we started to put it into action and do it, especially when we launched our first group program last spring,
Hmm.
I remember like after when we did that for him, I know that like completely solidified, like, this is what I want to be doing. Like, this is what I
Oh, that's great.
absolutely love doing. And because we don't just work on, just like with the lift workshop and with all of our clients, our fitness clients and strength clients, we worked on mindset and personal development. We do the same thing with our business clients, like, because if they're not working on that stuff, like, their business is not going to grow.
That's right.
So there's a lot of our coaching is really, a big bulk of our coaching is really focused on limiting beliefs, working through limiting beliefs and overcoming those. And I know that, like, that gets my husband fired up, and me too. It's something that really is, that we love doing.
No, that's awesome. I think that's really cool, Artemis. And that definitely makes sense. It's like you would you kind of reached the point where you were kind of burnt out with your online coaching business. You were obviously super busy. You were killing it. And but then it got to the point where you were kind of looking for the next level, looking for the next phase in your career. And so you obviously moved into the business coaching. And you've been killing it, by the way. I wanted to congratulate you. I saw one of your posts. Yeah, you're welcome. From a while ago, where you and your husband had hit a record month, and you guys had really hit an awesome, really cool goal. So I'm really glad that I'm really happy to hear that. I think it's just awesome. So
thank you.
One of our guests actually. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it wasn't easy, but
no, of course not. No. I know a lot of work went into it.
But,
I don't understand.
But
that.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was going to tell you one of our guests that we had on the show about 5 or 6 weeks ago, Lauren Mahone.
Oh, Mahoney. Yeah.
Mahoney, excuse me. Yeah, Mahoney. She's was talking about your coaching and says she loves it. So she was definitely talking to me about it. Says she likes the simplicity of it, and she was raving about it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, she's one of our clients. She started out one-on-one, and now she's in our group we have a group program, which is our mini mind. It's for people who have been coaching with us for at least anywhere from 3 to 6 months already. So it's for our more advanced students. So she's in that right now, and she really has transformed her business. And also, like, I don't know if you guys taught, like, her whole social media account, like, that was like a huge thing that we worked on with her. And it's amazing because that was something, like, creating content for social media was something that she didn't enjoy doing. She didn't like speaking to the camera. It was like, like it was I think she lacked confidence in that. And then there's also, like, the creative aspect was, her creator wasn't activated. And so it was something we worked with her on. And once she found her groove with it, like, now she loves it. And you can see how creative she is, not just with her writing, but also with how she puts her posts together, and she uses Canva. Yeah. And we have a lot. And the crazy thing is we'll have clients come to us and they'll see her account and they'll say, oh my gosh, I want mine to look like Laura. Like, so now she went from, it was something that was not her strength to now it is her strength. And now she's a role model for other clients. So it was just really cool to see that.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. And again, as a coach, that's what you want to see. You want to see your clients and your students thriving. And obviously, with social media being very visually driven, when she's doing well and people say, oh my God, what happened? Because people notice the change when your on-camera presence changes, when your quality of content improves, and people start asking questions. And then that's a great referral pipeline for you. That's great to bring people over to you, to obviously get more people over to hire you for your services. So that's obviously really cool. No, we love Laura. We had a great time with her, and I love what she's doing right now with, like, the prenatal and the prenatal and pregnancy, like, workouts, and how to modify, and what positions to get into, what to stay away from, and just serving that special population. So that's just really smart. I mean, talk about just taking your current life situation and marketing it, and just being really smart about it. Just doing a great job. So and I think that, like, as far as, and that was something that there was a point in her pregnancy where, well, she hadn't been able to go public yet with it, because I think she hadn't told her family about it yet. But at that time, she was struggling a little bit with, like, typically she has this hybrid strength. That's the name of her, like her signature programming is hybrid strength, and which was like strength training and some interval training combined together. And she was at the point personally where she's just like, well, I don't even like physically, because I'm pregnant, like, I don't even, feel like
doing this anymore. And so I said, well, you have to bring to, and we had this whole conversation of like, you gotta, whatever it is that you're doing in your training right now, you have to share that with your people, because that's what's happening authentically in your life. And then your people want to know about that, and there's going to be people out there who are where you are right now that they want to hear about this and see it. And then that was just like, okay. And then for her, that was like, great, now she had alignment. She was like, now she's like, okay, now I'm like realigned with my business and what I can market, because that's totally where I'm at. And so for all fitness coaches, know that like whatever you're going through in your lifting journey, and bring that to your marketing, because your audience wants to know all about that. And that's something, I personally, like, I learned just by writing about the training for the Iron Maiden challenge. Like, people want to know authentically what you are doing right now, what you're dealing with in your training or mentally or whatever it is. And when you do that and everything lines up, you're completely energetically aligned, because what you're doing matches what you're marketing, then your audience is going to receive it so well. And then that will just naturally, organically bring clients to you.
Yeah. Oh man, that's Artemis, man, that could be the whole show right there. I think that's amazing. No, seriously, I'm definitely taking some mental notes. I'm gonna certainly apply that into the kind of stuff that I do with like the Instagram posts, these videos, and I still run a blog. I'm an old school guy. I like to write my blog posts, so I'm not gonna knock your old school blog.
Yeah, I think,
So,
well, there are people who different people consume content differently. So there are some people who love to read. They will want to read the emails, they want to read blogs. And then there's others who are like, they want to consume their content by like YouTube or Instagram. And that's how, so I think it's great to like cover all the bases for sure. And a big part of that marketing that's like organic marketing is that as coaches, we're in this business because we want to help people, and we're always coming from a place of service. So when you are setting yourself to market like that, you are helping people. Like you're marketing without being like, I don't know. It's not like a used car salesman type marketing, right? Like you're just like, I want to help you because this is what I know is happening with me right now, and I'm sure like there's other people who need the same help. And then with that, and then it just organically markets and turns into running your business and helping you to get new clients and things like that. So it's a way to market and get new clients by operating from a place of service.
No, I think that's awesome. And I couldn't agree with that more, Artemis. That's as far as business and training and coaching philosophy goes, obviously, you got to make money, you got to pay bills and all that kind of stuff. Not to say money doesn't matter, obviously, but I agree with you. I think we should come from a place of service and serving our clients and doing the best job we can to serve them. Not just, click here, buy now, buy this program and blah, 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 all of that kind of stuff. So I agree with you. Definitely from that position of serving the clients should definitely be the priority.
Yeah. And it's definitely just about feeling passionate about what you're sharing. Like when you feel like good about whatever it is you're sharing and the content that you're sharing, then it will come back the way you need it to come back to help you to run your business.
No, definitely. Yeah. No, that's a very good point. I like that. I just think that whole take what you're going through and use it to market and speak to people. I think that's powerful, especially when you think about what marketing truly is in regards to a brand. It's telling a story, right? Like you're telling the brand story to an audience, and now you tell the story to say 20 people, and maybe 2 or 3 people out of that 20 it resonates with them, and then those are your true believers. Those are the people that are into what you're doing. Those are the people that are going to be interested in what you offer. So if someone sees you or I do a kettlebell workout video and they're like, well, I don't really want to work out with kettlebells, I'm going to move on. I want to do barbell or whatever. That's definitely that specificity. So
yeah, adding story to your marketing is essential. I mean, if you think about it, like Brene Brown, she's an amazing storyteller. And
Hmm.
because she is an amazing storyteller, she has built a tribe. And not just a tribe, she has like a whole movement behind her because she's
Yeah.
told stories. And and even Blake Mykowski, he is the founder and owner of Tom's Shoes. He talks about it in
Oh
his
yeah.
book, Something That Matters. He talks about his book, Something That Matters. He says, story resonates so much more powerfully with people than facts. And you do need to have the facts in there because we have to be that teacher and teach people. But
Of
there is a
course.
way to weave the facts into the story, and when you surround your facts with a story, people are going to remember it so much more. They're just going to remember the story that's associated, and then it's going to touch them emotionally too. So it will be when you can make people feel in that way from story, then they're going to gravitate towards you, and you'll resonate with them, and they'll want to work with you and follow you and all that.
Oh man, that's again, I feel like this is I feel like I should be paying you for this time. This is amazing stuff, honestly, Artemis.
Thanks.
It's funny, I just wrote a blog post that's going to go up at some point in the future. But it was about combining the logic and emotion together for like goal setting and accomplishing or achieving your goals, and how, you're with logic, like you should have a plan, you should have a specific, a smart goal, and have a plan and all that stuff in place. But then there's the emotional component of, well, why do you want to achieve that goal, right? Like, why do you want a thriving online business? Well, I want freedom of time. I don't want to trade my time for money. Why do you want to get in shape? Why do you want to get stronger? Well, I want to feel better in my body. I want to feel powerful. I want to be confident in who I am, what I do. So you get into that deep reason why. You combine that with a solid plan, and nothing can stop you. You
Right.
combine those two elements, and I think that storytelling, marketing definitely plays into that. So I think that's really cool. That's powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what's your training looking like right now? What have you been working on? I remember for a while it was a lot of really cool kettlebell workout videos in
Mm-hmm.
the garage, and you were just like kicking ass. I know you're still kicking ass, but what kind of stuff have you been working on?
I've been sticking to kettlebell training. It's been a
Yeah,
while since I've been back to the barbell. Like I was thinking about that today when I was training. So yeah,
yeah,
just
same.
I haven't been filming, but today I did film a video, which I am gonna put in my Instagram stories because I was just like, I haven't posted anything about fitness in a long time, and I haven't in my training. I've just been maintaining, like so I've just been doing kettlebell training pretty much, and
Yeah.
I haven't been working towards like any strength. There was a period of time where, oh, I think the last time I was really like pushing for like more strength was probably like last August. I was just getting and it was kettlebell strength, like more of like stronger pressing, stronger squats, and even
Yeah.
weighted pull-ups. I was just like working toward, and then since then I've just been more kind of like in a maintenance mode. I'm just like going in, just like maintaining my strength, and I haven't pressed anything heavier than a 16 kilogram probably since August.
Oh,
And so
okay.
lately I was like, wondering, what can I press right now? And I pressed the 22. I pressed like 50 pounds, like no problem. I was like, oh,
That's
so
awesome.
nice. It's just so nice when you're like, you're not even like working towards any sort of like heavy strength or anything.
Oh
And you're
yeah.
just like, oh, I can still do that. That's pretty cool that I can still do
Well, that means that obviously
that.
that means that if you easily hit the 22, that means like with a little bit of a grind, you could still hit the 24, right? Like you
Oh
still
yeah.
got it in you, which is really
Yeah.
exciting, right?
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah, if
and
I
honestly,
took like, I was thinking that too. Like if I took a couple, because I tried to press the 24, and I was like, I was like, no, it's not going up. And
yeah.
but I think like, but where I was at was like, if I just took the next couple weeks and I just focused on that and just got some
Oh
heavier
yeah, you'll hit
presses
it.
in, I bet you I could like hit the 24. Yeah, which is cool.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And then there's that psychological component to it, right? You've already done it. So
Hmm.
it's not the unknown. Like you've done it.
Yeah.
So there's that switch has been flipped, where you're like, you're like, come on, dude, you can do this shit. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously with skill acquisition training and the strength gains and everything, that's no, that's really cool. Yeah, I just like you, I've been kettlebell training as well, and obviously with the pandemic, the shutdown, out of necessity, kettlebells are awesome. People are starting to really realize how freaking sweet they are
I know. I
because
know.
you don't need much room for them. You know, I can
Yep.
essentially run a fitness business out of the back of my car, and it's freaking cool. But
Yep.
I've been doing like sinister training, so slowly kind of inching uh, towards that goal. So lots of swings, lots of get ups,
Mhm.
and lots of swings and lots of get ups.
Yeah, and that's
So
what
it's
like I
been fun.
was like working towards Sinister, and because my one hand swings were getting better and better,
Yeah.
but I haven't been. So I think August was probably like the last time that I was really getting back to that. But I'll probably, we all know training is cyclical, so
Of
probably as
course.
we approach March, I'll get back into a phase
Oh
of
yeah.
getting back to those much heavier bells, and yeah.
Oh, definitely. No, it is
Mhm.
100% cyclical, and I think that's what a lot of people get so hung up on is in regards to your fitness level, like your body weight, for way more reasons that I want to even name right now. For both males and females, weight's going to fluctuate throughout the year. Like life happens, right? Like life is not perfectly linear. It's just the way it is. You're right. I think we need to have those times where you just kind of play around, play with some weights, do something, and then like kind of get the itch again and go, all right, all right, it's time to light the fire. Let's train for
Mhm.
this goal and let's get after it. So
Yep.
I think that can be a good time when you're not stressing over a goal. Sometimes you just play and just move and just have fun. So
Right.
I think
Yeah.
that's really cool. So what's the what's the next step? What's the next step for what you want to do? I know you're obviously killing it. You're coaching a lot of clients. They're obviously doing really well, which is really good for you. But what's
Mhm.
the what does 2021 look like for your business? You and your husband's business, that is.
But what's really nice about this year is that last year was all about pivoting and build
Yeah.
and business building.
That was the
So
word of
we
the
were,
year, I think, was pivot.
oh, I know, because and the funny thing is like we pivoted before the pandemic. Like we pivoted in February, and then the pandemic hit, and then like everyone else was pivoting. Um,
Oh my God,
and
yeah.
so but and so like for everyone who's gone through it, like like when you're having that pivot, there's so much creation. Like we were spending all of last year creating a brand new business, creating new programs, and
Yeah.
building our team. So now we have a team. We have an online business manager and a virtual assistant on our team now,
Oh, that's great. That's
and
great.
yeah, which has been amazing. So just like building all of that, and it was definitely, I did feel like a maniac the entire year. Like I will
Of course.
say, I just felt like a total maniac. Like
You kind of have to be though, because
yeah.
you're getting a new brand off the ground. Like you have
Hmm.
to you just have to bust your ass and grind. Like there's no way around it, right? So
Yeah. And so what was really cool about going into this January was like last January when I was meeting with my business coach, it was all about, okay, we're like going to completely change all this stuff, right? And this year it's like, okay, here's my business. So now it's like these are the programs we're going to do all year. So that was
yeah, there
great
we go.
because it's going to be about just now everything that we've created in 2020. Now we're just going to focus on launching again like our Empower You Business Academy, and we have like our one-on-one rates too. Like we started out early last year at one rate, and then now we're finally at the rate that we want to be at for our one-on-one. So
Hmm.
there's not going to be, I don't foresee any like one price increases with our one-on-one rates now, which is great because we had like two over the course of 2020. So it's like all that stuff is settled. And now we just have this plan and we can just like launch our programs and serve. And the one thing that we were thinking that we haven't, so we have a couple of new things that we were going to do, that we were going to do a mastermind program for more advanced business people. And then
Oh,
we
awesome.
also, yeah. And then the other thing we were also discussing was doing a mentorship program for strength and fitness coaches who want to either add business coaching to their services or
Hmm.
completely pivot their businesses to that. Because we've had some people ask us about the following our business model and doing that, and specifically
Yeah.
strength and fitness coaches, because that can be a really tough pivot to go from like fitness to business. It's like,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
so
Well,
we were looking at,
you would face some backlash, right? I remember, well, not backlash, but I remember you had posted about how when you made that switch over, you said you had lost a bunch of followers and people were kind of like, they were actually like upset about it, actually upset when you made that change.
I did, a lot of times people take it personally. And I did
Yeah.
get some email. I got some emails telling me that I was just all about the money now, and I didn't care about people. Because I think there is this with business. There's this association with like business is money. It's
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and as a business coach, you have to talk about the money. And in general, we all have to talk about the money. We have to get over
Oh, sure. It matters. I mean,
money.
it's
So
important. I mean, you can't not talk about it. It's what keeps the
yeah.
lights on.
But I think, I think that's, I definitely have compassion. Like I understand, people when they followed you for so long and you've built this trust with them that they trust you that you're delivering this one thing all the time. And that's what they rely on you for. And so when you go and you change, it's like, oh, but that's not that's
Yeah.
not how I see you or why I'm following you and so I get it. I totally get it. And I think that like anyone who has a transition or a pivot, you're going to have that. You're going to have people who don't completely accept it. They don't want it to happen. They want
Yeah.
to share it with you. And it's, I think it's a matter of just like, it can be hard. Like I would be lying if I said I didn't take that personally. Of course, like
Oh,
we all
of
take like
course.
judgment
Yeah.
like personally, but
Yeah.
like this is where I'm going with that and where I'm going, and it's about me and what I need to do for myself and in my
Yeah.
life. So yeah, and I definitely I've gained followers, but I've lost followers. So and I'm not gaining them as quickly as I'm losing them. So it's like, but
Yeah.
that's the other thing that's really important too for everyone to understand is though it doesn't matter how many followers you have. It really, I know people who have like multiple six-figure businesses with smaller audiences at like 3,000, 5,000 followers. Like so there, it doesn't matter how many followers you are. It doesn't equate to money. But what does matter is that the engagement that you have with your audience and with your followers
Yeah.
and how connected you are to them. And if you know who they are and if you can really connect with them and just, and this was very poignant. A few years ago, I was at a business retreat and Sean Croxton, who is the owner of, he's the host of the Quote of the Day Show podcast. And he was talking about followers and he said, okay, well, he said, say you have 300 followers. He said, have you ever stood in front of a room in person with 300 people and spoken to 300 people?
Yeah.
And he said, that's a lot of people. Think
That's a
about
lot of
that.
people.
So,
That's true.
so if you think about your followers, like every time you get on there, and granted, I know that your entire following doesn't see because of the algorithm or whatever, but there is a large percentage of people who are seeing your stuff.
Oh, sure, sure.
It, think every time you get on there, you post something like that's like posting to that many followers. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the more important thing is just like really appreciating the followers you do have and connecting with them, and that's what matters
No, I
for
think that's
sure.
awesome. That's another great piece of advice and piece of actionable takeaway. And obviously, you're not concerned with just a number on someone's page, like, oh, so and so has so many followers. They're obviously more or less valuable than the other. Like you said, you and I both know people that are geniuses in their field, that know more
Right.
than both of us combined, but they have like a very,
Mhm.
very, very small following. So it's definitely not
Yep.
everything. So, but
Yep.
I hated to see that backlash for you. But I guess it's just part of the growing pains too, right? Like people are very we don't like change as humans, which obviously 2020 was just a tough year for everybody because it was just a big year of change,
Yeah.
in more ways than one. But it was, I thought the way you handled that was obviously really good. It's just, you just have to be cool about it and just kind of roll with the punches, which I thought you did really well. So I thought you were good about
Thank you.
just kind of rocking it. Yeah, no, you're welcome. So, well, that's exciting, Artemis. I'm super fired up for you. If we could kind of speak to any fitness, health, strength coaches out there that would maybe be thinking about potentially reaching out to you for your services. Let's say someone who's been in the industry for on let's say average like 3 to 5 years. They've got a decent amount of experience and certs and stuff. Like what would the track be if they did want to work with you? Would you like if someone reached out to you and said, "Hey, I'm interested in coaching," what would be your recommendation as far as the process?
Well, we have there's one-on-one. So one-on-one is really just wherever you are at in your business. So you could be, if you're just wanting to start out online, or you've been doing some stuff online by yourself for a while and you're not getting anywhere and you need help with that. So one-on-one is definitely for that. Or if you've been online for a while and you're at a point like where like Laura Mahoney is, and where you're like maybe you're ready to start hiring like a virtual assistant and start to hire a team and things like that. So one-on-one is really like all encompassing. And then our Empower You Business Academy, that is geared towards people who are just starting out online, who need to
Nice.
craft their offers. They need to learn social media marketing, story selling, like some of which we talked about today. They need to learn all about that. They need to learn how to do copywriting for sales pages, put sales pages together. And so that's something our Empower You Business Academy is for people who they like need to start from scratch online. And then of course we cover like tons of like mindset, limiting beliefs. We do like money mindset exercises, and we have books that we recommend for people. And so we have that spring session. It will start in March. So that
Awesome.
enrollment's going to open up March 1st for that.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's a 3-month program. And then
The Empower
one-on-one.
You is a 3-month program?
Yep, the Empower You, the
Awesome.
Business Academy.
Awesome.
It's a 3-month program. And we have a spring and a fall session. So the spring one starts in March, and our fall one, I think right now we have it slated to start in September.
Awesome.
And then so one-on-one is like open enrollment. Like if you're interested in that, you can just come and chat with us about that. And if you're someone who has been, maybe you've had another coach and you have an online business, like I said, if you're like Laura Mahoney, you might be a good fit for the mini mind, which is that's a 3-month program too, but it's open enrollment through the year. So
Gotcha.
it's something you can come in and like you can get group support, but these students are more advanced than the Empower You Business Academy. So EBA
They're
is like
more so heavyweight.
level 1. Yeah, they're like at a point where they're about like at 6 figures a year, or they're like they're there or they're about to get there, and then they're ready to like get bigger. For example, one of the girls that we have, I shouldn't say girl, one of the women that we have in the mini mind, she was amazing. She had a goal in December to hit a 10K month, and she hit a 16K month. It was like,
oh wow,
yeah, it was just really exciting to watch her experience that, and she completely sold out all of her one-on-one spots, and ended up getting a bunch of clients who were like truly her ideal client, that she was just so excited to have on board. And but yeah, so that's like the mini mind. That's like our level 2. And then one-on-one is like, whether you're advanced or you're beginner, it's like you get a lot of personal time from me, and Eric and I co-coach. So for one-on-one, you get like, you are assigned like your primary coach, but say I'm your primary coach, you'll still get some calls with Eric to work on some other things.
Awesome.
Yep. And then Eric and I do all the group calls together. So we do the mini mind calls together. We do the EBA calls together.
That's awesome. So sounds like, obviously, I'm just going to preface this. I'm not grouping you in with these folks. However, you've seen the ads online just like I have, of like, the young like 19-year-old kid standing in front of the Ferrari. Let me help you build your 7-figure business and blah blah blah, and just enter your credit card information here, and I'm going to send you this PDF, and then that's it. Sounds like you guys are obviously very far from that. You're into building relationships and into more of a long-term process versus like I said earlier, like
Oh
a buy
yeah.
it now kind of mentality. Hit the button and then all right, well, see
Right.
you later.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's awesome.
it's a really big deal. It's like, for example, the two people I had two one-on-one clients come on board in December, and it's a life-changing thing. Like you're making this really big, financial commitment, but also it's also like your own personal commitment to yourself
Absolutely.
that you're like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be successful at it. And it's really scary because when you are clicking the buy now button, there's a lot of doubt. So
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
so much more than that. Yeah, it's definitely about uh, having that empathy for the person that they're making a big life changing decision about, either like leaving their whatever they're doing for their job and completely changing it, or just making that commitment to get some help. Like that's a big deal.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with that. And it's the big thing is that the best coaches that I work with slash have worked with, they all have a coach. Like everybody has somebody that they work with that helps them. Like
Yep.
I've been a personal trainer for 7 going on 8 years now, and I have a coach. I have a personal trainer that works with me, and actually I really have a couple. I've got a few people online that kind of help me with coaching cues and stuff too, as well. But I think no matter how long you've been in the game, there's always somebody, there's always like the bigger fish, and there's always somebody that knows a little bit more than you and can help you push
Hmm.
through those plateaus and get to the next level. So
For sure.
I think that's really cool, and I think it's neat that what you're doing. You're helping people build an online fitness business. You're helping them, buy back their time, get that freedom. They can spend more time with their families if they want to. They can volunteer more. They can whatever the hell they want to do. They have more time to do, what they want. And then you were talking about hiring an assistant and a virtual manager. Like that's job creation. I mean, that's
Yeah.
there's a really cool kind of a splintering effect there where a lot of lives are being touched by that process. So I think that's
Definitely.
really cool and definitely shouldn't be undersold. So I think that's really neat.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Artemis, I what I want to finish off with is basically where can everybody find you as far as online, social media, and everything if they're interested in reaching out to you for coaching or anything.
So the best place to find me online is on Instagram, which is my name. I know it's really long. It's Artemis underscore Scantalides, which I used to have my fitness handle, which I changed last
Yeah,
year, but that's
I
okay.
was very excited to
Um,
hear you pronounce it because I was I was kind of lost and I would not have said it that way.
that's okay. No worries.
I'm sure you get it
So,
all the time, but
so you can find me on Instagram, and then our website is empower. The name of our business is Empower You Online Coaching, and it's empower and then just a U online coaching. So they can go there, but you can always just direct message me on Instagram, and like that's a way to we can set up a call, and we always, when it comes to business coaching, like we will always start with a discovery call. So we'll get on a Zoom call and chat with you, and if and one of the things that we do is make sure that you get into the right program. Like if you're applying for one-on-one, but we actually think the Empower You Business Academy is a good fit for you, like we'll recommend that, or the other way around.
it's
So
awesome.
yeah, we'll make sure you find, if we're a good fit for you, like you get into the program that is like the best fit for you.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And I think from just from a values and ethics perspective, I can't help but really strongly admire that because obviously from a sales perspective, like if someone signs up for the higher price point package, obviously you make more money, so there's that incentive there. But then again, you want to build a relationship, you want to truly help that person, and you want to see them thrive and succeed. So I think that's just another example of why I'm excited to have you on the show and why your
Thank you.
values definitely you're welcome. Why your values definitely align with mine, and that you want to find the best fit for that person. I mean, it's a cheap little tagline that I love to use, but we call it personal training. for a reason, right?
Hmm.
It's personal to the person. You're providing personal business training or business coaching, excuse me, and it's personal to the client in front of you. So I
Hmm.
no, I think that's awesome. I think I definitely feel like a few of our viewers are going to be interested in what you're doing, and we'll definitely at least give you a follow and kind of check out what's going on, and maybe some of them will send you a DM. So
Cool. Well, thanks so
awesome.
much for having me. This was awesome.